How to find the best attorneys and have a better chance at winning your lawsuits. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Now, we were involved in some lawsuits recently, and we were helping out some clients, and they were asking, hey, how do I get the best attorney? How do I win my case? Well, that's everybody's question, right? And I realize it's kind of a disorganized way of looking for people, because a lot of times you just go off referrals from friends or people you know. That's not necessarily the best way to do it, because a lot of times attorneys will represent you in cases where it's not their area of expertise. So you can have an attorney that's really good at like civil lawsuits, like divorces or something, and all of a sudden you want them to represent you in a case with a landlord-tenant issue. That's not a good idea. You're going to lose. So, one easy way is to call the state bar in your state, and they'll give you a recommendation or a list of attorneys that specialize in the specific type of case that you have. A lot of times you're not even sure. You're like, well, I don't even know what type of case this is. Well, then it's good to call the state bar, and they'll tell you, hey, you know what, this is an insurance fraud case or whatever the case might be, and they'll give you some attorneys to start with. So you can call them up, you can get some recommendations, you can start from there. You can get usually free consultations with them over the phone. A lot of times you'll call them and they'll say, you know what, just for the consultation, we're going to charge you $500 or $300. Don't pay it. Don't pay it. That's a ripoff. I know there's a lot of attorneys that are ripoffs and they just want to take advantage of people. Don't fall into that trap. They should talk to you for free, at least for the initial, to see if it's a good fit, see if they can help you, and see if it's someone that you want to represent you. Because again, you're going to have to be working with this person. So you want a personality that you agree with. So that's one way. Now the second way, and this is probably the most effective way to find a good attorney, is call the state bar, find out what type of attorney you need for your case. Then you look up a magazine called the Daily Journal. It's basically like a law review, and it's like a Sports Illustrated for attorneys. And it talks about like the highlights, like who's done what and what specific field of law. And you can look on there and you can say, hey, you know what, I have a police brutality case. Who are the top attorneys in this field? Well, instead of going by word of mouth, you can actually see who got the largest awards. Now, you never want to go by what the lawsuit amount is, because remember, a lot of times people will sue for, let's say, 10 million, 20 million. Then they'll settle for 10 grand or 5 grand. So you want to look at the award amount. The award is much more important. How much did they actually get? Any attorney can sue and say, I'm going to sue you for $1 billion. Okay, but is that realistic? Can they actually get that? At the end of the day, they might get like, $2,000 or 20 grand. So is that a good attorney? Doesn't mean they're bad, but doesn't mean they can actually get those big, paydays that you're looking for, or defend you, depending on what side of the suit you're at. So you want to get people that actually get high awards. Now, you'll see the awards, at least in California, where they sue the most. Remember, more than 90% of the lawsuits in the world are in the United States. More than half of those lawsuits are in California. So California is the worst. It's nothing to be proud of. It's a bad thing. It's very inefficient, and it's not fair because a lot of innocent people get hurt, but that's the way it is. So how do you prepare yourself? Well, look at these awards, and if you have, let's say, like I said, a police brutality case, and you see awards of like $1 million, those are decent. Those are good awards. That means it's probably a decent attorney. He was able to go to court, fight, negotiate, whatever the case might have been, and he got the person $1 million. Now, anything less than $1 million is not real good. Now, if you get people that have $10 million awards, that's a really good attorney. 10 million and above, that's like an A. $1 million is like decent, like a B minus or something. So in most cases, if you get someone that's had verdicts of at least $1 million, that's decent. You can call them up, you can get consultations from them, and then you can find out if they'll represent you in your case. That is the surefire, easiest way to find a good attorney. I do not recommend calling up your buddies and saying, hey, do you know anybody? no, that's not a good idea, because they might not specialize, again, in the type of case that you have, and it's highly specialized. There's dozens of different fields of legal representation that people can help you with. So you want to make sure you have someone that's experienced and an expert in whatever it is you need. And one last thing I just want to share with you. One important point I've really learned over the years going to court is you think that the law and the courts are based on the law of order, right? Like the rules, like, hey, you know what? This person broke this rule. They should have something against them, or I should win this case because this person didn't do what the law says. Courts and our legal system do not go based on that, unfortunately. That's a facade. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. It's a reality. Any attorney will tell you it's not based on the law. A lot of times, who wins a lawsuit it's like a popularity contest, okay? We were in a lawsuit recently. It was completely made up. Everything was false. It never even happened. It was completely made up. And the person that was suing our group had a really good attorney. So our attorney said, oh, first thing they ask, who's the attorney? What group are they from? They're always going to ask you that. They want to know who the name is. And they'll look them up and they'll study, say, oh, this person won $1 million or won 10 million, or oh, they've only won like 10 grand or 100 grand. This guy's a nobody. So when there's somebody that hasn't won a lot, they just give them a few thousand, tell them to go away. But it's someone that has high verdicts, the court and the attorney, and if you have umbrella insurance, like your insurance company will say, wow, okay, this person, they can win. They've actually went to court, they've fought cases, and they've won. Because remember, over 90% of attorneys never go to court. They don't fight in courts like you see on TV. They're working in offices at desks. In fact, law is a really highly saturated field. The average pay for attorneys in the United States is $40,000. It's less than a high school teacher, so it's not what it used to be. Anybody can get a law degree now online. It's really easy. In fact, one of my friends was a doctor. I got in some trouble and he went to prison for something. And he ended up starting a law school while he was in prison. And he started an online law school. So anybody can do it. He was in prison and he started one. He got out and then, I think he owed like child support or something. It's not a good thing. But even though he had these problems, he still started a law school. He became an attorney himself. So go figure, anybody can do it. But there's that 6 or 7% that are trial attorneys that actually go to court and fight, like you see on TV. They're arguing the points of cases. Those are the ones that actually get the money, and those are the ones that people want to know who they are, because if it's someone that's able to win, automatically when they go into a mediation or negotiation, your insurance is going to pay a lot more money for them. They're going to say, oh wow, this person's suing, but they have this person as an attorney, Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo's a badass. So you know what? We don't want to go to court because we don't want to lose. We might lose what they call treble. Let's say someone's suing you for 10 grand and then you go to court and you lose. The judge can decide, hey, you know what? This is a particularly nasty case and you were obviously breaking the law. So I'm gonna award treble, which means triple. So instead of getting 10 grand, they're gonna get 30 grand out of you. I mean, or whatever it is, 100,000, a million, or whatever the case. So that's a risk. So if you're in a case that's not, looking real good for you, get some good attorneys. That's what happened with OJ. OJ was clearly guilty. Everybody knows that. He lost a civil case. There's a lot of evidence against him, but the guy got really good attorneys. So he won. And that's why a lot of people look at this and they say, wow, the legal system's so unfair. The rules, yeah, rules are great, but courts don't work on rules, unfortunately. Again, it's fake. It works on a popularity contest, and if you get a good attorney, the other side's gonna get scared. They're gonna negotiate and they're gonna settle. It's gonna work out better for you. So hope that helps. And from Los Angeles, California, this is Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Goodbye.